hardest part of people tuning in. I'm just sitting here looking.
Hey everybody.
Hey, we're going to give everybody some time to tune in.
Let me get myself on.
Oh yeah.
Start tuning in.
Because I did tag you, so that would, I don't know if you can accept it later how yours work.
Here it is.
Hi. You know I never go back and watch lives because I don't like what I found. Like I'm not watching it. I'm going to give everybody some time to tune in. So, accept it later how yours work. Oh. Hi. You know I never go back and watch lives because I don't like what I found. Everybody.
Yay! Hey everybody.
Okay. What I want to do too is while we're waiting on people to tune in, I know you all are going to see this backwards because I'm using the forward camera. But anyway, one day I'll get a cameraman and then I can turn it around and I can everything will show correctly. But I always like to just put a point out to one little thing, and this relates to Miss Dana O. Johnson. Yes, I love saying her entire name.
Yay.
Okay. The 3 pillars of wealth that we should all think about: stock and bond investing, real estate, and entrepreneurs. If you really think about anybody who's wealthy, or well off, they have more than likely all 3 of these. You know what I mean? Even if you think about our president,
That's right.
Mr. Donald Trump. However he is, whatever you feel about him, he's not hungry. He has all 3 of these.
That's right.
Think about it. It's true.
That's right.
You know, I'm not a fan of his, but I'm just letting you know. You all, I'm sorry, I have to call this. You can talk.
Okay. So, I want to give you a little bit of background on how I know Kitty. She had to take a call, but I met Kitty some years ago. I'm going to date myself. We used to work in the mortgage industry at Homeside Lending around 2000, between 2000 and 2003. And I met her. We were both processors at Homeside Lending. We became friends. Homeside Lending got bought out by Washington Mutual. I left there and I actually became a mortgage broker. And after becoming a mortgage broker, I did that for about a year or 2, and then I opened my own mortgage brokerage business. And the market went bust, and Kitty and I reconnected when I started working at Bank of America. I worked at Bank of America from about 2009 to 2013, so about 4 years. And we used to talk about how we didn't want to always work for someone. And when she comes back, we're going to talk about a discussion that we had way back in 2013, which leads us to right now.
Exactly.
So I gave them a little bit of background on how we know each other.
Yeah. How
we worked at in the mortgage industry from 2000 all the way up until 2013 on and off with different companies. And I was about to tell them about the conversation that we had downstairs, building 500 at Bank of America here in Jacksonville.
Yes, tell them about that conversation.
So I was frustrated. I had just gotten some news that after being a quality analyst and after working from home, I had to come back into the office doing a processing job, which it was kind of bittersweet. I still at least had my job, but it wasn't the progression that I wanted. It felt like it was a step back. And I just so happened to be just charging down the stairs, because typically I would take the elevator, but I was so mad, I was like, go take the stairs. So I'm just charging down the stairs, and who do I see at the bottom of the stairs? Somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. Nikita is what I called her. Yeah. I didn't call her Kitty.
It was Nikita.
It still is. So I was like, hey, Nikita. She said, hey, girl, what's going on? So we just chopping it up. And I don't know how, I think it, for some, and back then, I did not tell my business, and I did not show weakness. I did not tell people that I was upset about anything. I just tried to keep a straight line and a straight face. But it was something about Kitty. We were talking, and I just blurted it out. I'm sick of this plates.
Exactly.
And we just started talking, and I know that my background was entrepreneurship. I'd gotten a taste of what it felt like to have freedom of movement. And I'd gotten a taste of what it felt like to be my own boss, to command my schedule, and not have a cap on how far I can go and how far my income can go.
Wow. I just want to, that spiel was awesome. Freedom of movement and a cap on your income.
It's priceless.
Yes.
So I was complaining to Kitty, and then after that, I went back and I sat down in that processor seat for about 6 months, and I said, I can't do this. Thank you, God. I'm not complaining, but I know you got something else for me.
Yes, and He did. Look at where you are now.
Yes.
Compared to back then. I'm not knocking Bank of America. I'm not knocking them at all. Because what we were saying.
Yeah.
What did we say? We
learned some really good traits, and we learned some good habits. We learned how to actually run the business by working at Bank of America, because they ran a tight ship. So they taught us excellence. They taught us customer service. They taught us processes. They taught us how to look at things just on a different scope and a different level. So we picked up some good business etiquette.
We really did.
At Bank of America. So not knocking it, however, it was not self-employment.
Yes, it was not. And it was... I'm not going to talk... Look, it kind of gives me knots in my stomach.
Self-employment. When Kitty comes up to her door, how do you feel when you come to this?
Awesome. I don't even feel like that's a job. I just feel like this is a part of my life. It's just what I do.
And when I go to my office, I'm like, and I don't care what kind of day I have being self-employed. I don't care how many clients say, I don't want to use you, I'm going with somebody else, or I don't care how many deals fall out, because as a realtor and a broker, we can work from start to finish, and if the deal doesn't close, we don't get paid. We're commission only. So I don't care how many times that happens, it's still, it's still nothing like having freedom of movement and commanding your life and saying, okay, you know what, this might have happened, but God gave me the authority to speak life into any situation. I know what it looks like, but I know that God has an expected end for me. And, okay, God, show me what I need to do in order to navigate and get to my expected end.
Yes, you know what? I'm going to write this down so I'll forget it. She said freedom of movement and commanding of life. That is it. I just need, I do this. This might be from Bank of America. When I find something that gets me, I have to write it down.
That's right.
Freedom of movement and commanding of life.
Yeah, because I heard Bishop Paul and my pastor always say, if you waste your time, you'll waste your life. And that's with anything. If you waste your time, you'll waste your life. And it's nothing that you can replace everything except your life and your soul. Those are the two things that you don't have charge over. God owns those two things. He has the rights to time and your soul. But once you lose those two things, they're gone. However, there's a clause in the Word of God that says that He's a redeemer of time. So if once I started looking at that, I felt like I lost a lot of time in corporate America. I lost a lot of time in other things, even personally. Just spending time doing things that didn't line up. I thought it didn't line up with God's will, and I began to pray and ask God, okay, God, redeem my time. I know that I know that I spent a lot of years doing this or that, but if you show me what I need to do now, if you can get me there speedily, it'll be just like all of those things in the middle between the first time that I started doing whatever it was I was doing up until now never happened. And He did that. He actually bridged that time for me. He bridged that time. And not only did He bridge the time, He made it to where everything that happened in the middle was needed for where I was right then. Nothing happened to me up until the time that I opened my own business that didn't need to happen, that did not equip me for that time.
That is...
It's the truth.
You so sometimes you try to explain it, but you can't really put it into words.
Yes.
That is perfect.
It is, because sometimes we beat ourselves up, Kitty. We beat ourselves up about, oh, I should have taken this opportunity, or I should have done this at an earlier age, or when I had the opportunity to do it before. I shouldn't have spent my time with this person or these amount of people. And that's what the enemy wants us to do. He wants us to regret the processes that we went through. Mm-hmm. But if we believe in the Word of God and that all things work together for the good, even those things that we don't think should have happened, the things that took up so much of our time, if we believe the Word of God, we got to know that all of those things work together for our good, so that it'll get us to our expected end, Jeremiah 29:11. And once it gets us there, it's nothing that can hold us back, because then we're living out our destiny.
Yes!
And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. You got to live out your destiny, and it's being fearless. Because we really don't have anything to fear. God owns all of this.
You're right. You are right. It is.
He owns all of it.
He does. That's awesome. And I'm thinking a lot of people who want to try it, even if not full time. I have a lot of friends I know with dreams in their spirit. And a lot of times the reason they tell me that they won't do it or can't do it is because of their circumstances, or they waited too long, or they can't figure out how to pay the bills and do it, not really realizing that if you're still working and you're doing it, you're getting paid twice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they just don't do it, and then time gets on them. Mm-hmm. And they never feel like they can try any of it.
That's just the enemy. Yeah. That is just a trick of the enemy. He wants us to think that, oh, your process isn't like how everybody else's process is, so it's not going to work. No, your process is your process. Mm-hmm. And whatever it takes, where there's a will, there's a way, it's going to be that much better if you do it in your timing, well, in God's timing, and with your process in mind. Because your story isn't going to be your story is going to be unlike anybody else's story. Mm-hmm. And can I tell you my story?
Go ahead on. That's what we're here for.
So, and when we're talking about opening a business, of course, you know you need finances, you need credit. These are the things that the banks tell you need. You need a business plan. You need to plan it out. You need to do all of these things, a checklist, a myriad of things that people tell you should do. Mm-hmm. But the first thing you should do is to get your mind right, because that's the thing that's going to fight against your dream. And I hear people say they, and people, but your biggest enemy is yourself, because it starts here. Because I don't know anybody that made up their mind to do something and they didn't do it. You know somebody that made up their mind to do something and they didn't get it done?
No.
I don't know a person. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen some people make up their mind to do something and they talk themselves out of it based on external factors. But once you make your mind up to do something, money won't stop you, credit won't stop you, your position, your power. You can be the lowest man on a totem pole, and if you believe in yourself and you say, I don't care what is going to happen, mm-hmm. where there's a will, there's a way. This time next year, this is where I'm going to be. Nothing and no one can stop you, not even yourself. Once you make that up in your mind. So the first key thing to do when you're talking about becoming a successful entrepreneur that's going to have perpetual wealth and success is to get your mind right. And every day you got to renew your mind. Every day. All day long. It's a constant battle. It's not a goal that you attain and you say, okay, I'm going to get my mind right today, and by this time next year, this is where I'm going to be. And then when next year comes, then what's going to happen? What happens if that business starts to fall off? You got to every day, constantly renew your mind and remind yourself of the promises that God made to you. That's number one. I know that when it was time for me to open my real estate company, I was working with Berkshire Hathaway. I was happy at Berkshire Hathaway. I did not see myself leaving. People asked me if I ever thought about opening my own real estate company, and I would say no. And they would say, why? I would say, because the liability is too high. I don't want to be responsible for other people. I just want to be responsible for myself. As a realtor, you have to hold your license under a real estate broker. Okay. They get a portion of your commission. I tell people I opened my company under duress because I found myself in the middle of a divorce and all of my income had stopped. I had just gotten back into being a realtor full time, and it takes some time for you to get your portfolio and your clientele back up to where you're closing consistently. And not only that, I was sharing my commission. About half of my commission was going to the other company because I didn't have I didn't have anything to say, okay, I've been a realtor and this is what I make. When you come in brand new, those type of companies typically want to cut your commissions in half. So I was working my fingers to the bone. I was closing deals, but I wasn't seeing the benefit of closing because I didn't have the money that I needed to sustain my house and to take care of my children. So what happened was I prayed. I don't cry. I used to not cry. That was before I became sensitive. And something happened in my 40s. But I used to not cry. I was a G. I have 3 sons. That's another reason why I didn't cry, because I didn't want them to see signs of weakness. So
you said I was a G. My kids laugh at me when I say
a G. When I tell you, Kitty, I said I looked at my bills. The bill collectors were calling. I stopped answering the phone, and I don't know why, but I sat down at my bar at the time, and I cried. And my son caught me. My oldest son caught me crying. I was so embarrassed. He said, "Mama, what's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing." And he took me by my hand. He said, "It's gonna be all right." I said, "I know." And at the time, he was 14 years old. He's 19 now, and that I felt a little better. And the phone was ringing, and I don't know why I answered that phone. It was an out of town, out of state number. I know, right? I owe everybody. You're not supposed to answer out of state calls.
You know
everybody. But I did. So it was an old employer that I used to contract with, and it was in November of 2013, and they asked me would I come back to work for them in a contract position. No, actually it was a contract. It was actually a full-time position, and it was making a good amount of money. And I said, "Thank you, God." And I went. They asked me could I start in 2 weeks. I said I could start tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be there.
So I went, and I worked for 6 months. But within 30 days of me working, I said, "God, if you can just sustain me for 6 months, I got to open my own business." God had given me the green light. I was tired. I was working full time. I didn't tell anybody that I was working. It was only like 3 people that knew I was working. It was Gene.com knew that I was working, because at the time he had to come and pick up the check for me for my radio spots. And I was doing on the radio.
Hey,
and I was
but that's how I found out you were actually doing your own company.
Yeah.
Because the radio spot.
Yeah. I was embarrassed to tell Gene. I told Gene, I said, "Gene, I had to get a job right quick because I got to get this money." He was like,
Well,
"Man." And I was embarrassed though, because to me that felt like I was a failure, because I needed to get, additional help. And so he knew, my mom knew, and my best friend knew, Alicia. And that was it. I worked that job. I would get like 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night, because I would work. I would take my kids to their practices, to their games. I would show houses. I would go on my lunch break to show houses. Come right back. I would, and if I was gone for too long, they would allow me to take my laptop to work to get my hours in. Because I explained to my manager at the time what was going on. I told him that I was in the middle of a divorce. I needed money, and I couldn't stop real estate. He allowed me to do that, and I did that for 6 months. I got 3 to 4 hours.
You were getting it in though.
I did, and
that's ridiculous. That's hard.
I had to do it, because I said I gotta have 100% of my income, because I gotta take care of my kids. I gotta pay my bills, and I need freedom of movement, because I'm too tired to even do anything with my kids. And I'm too tired to even, I was exhausted. So after working about 6 months, I got enough money to open my business. It wasn't even about being flashy or being the biggest. I was trying to figure out what can I do to get more clients, because I needed more clients to come in so that I can get the money, keep the money rolling. And God was giving me creative ideas, things to say. He showed me favor. I quit, and when I opened my business, my prayer was, "God, I just don't want to be negative in my checking account." I had $52 left.
We done been there, baby.
I opened September the 12th, 2015, and I had $52 left in my account, and the rest is in history. And I said, that was funny, God. I didn't want to be negative, but I needed more than $52.
You wasn't negative. He gave you what you asked for.
You can't even go to the movies.
He gave you what you asked for.
But he multiplied that.
Yeah.
He didn't add to it. He multiplied it. And it's been on ever since. So it's that mindset. When you make up in your mind that you want to do something and you want to be an entrepreneur, nothing can stop you. Not your circumstances, not what they say, not what you perceive. Nothing stops you, because where there's a will, there's a way. I found that people help you too when you tell them the truth. I started telling the truth, and I was so prideful. I didn't know it back then, but I was prideful. I didn't want people to know if I was struggling. I didn't want people to know certain things about me because I was private. Perception made a big deal to me, but now I ask for help.
Yeah.
If I need help, I'm like, hey, can you help me do this? I can't figure this out. And that's when God's favor, comes in, because He put people here to actually help us.
Exactly. Nobody's a self-made man. Everybody needs a team. You know what I mean? Somebody to help them out.
And Kitty, you came when we met up. Kitty said, I got my own business. I said, Kitty, what are you doing? Kitty's custom cleaning. I see Kitty's custom cleaning everywhere. I take pictures of the vans and I text them to her. I call her. I say, I saw your brother. I saw your sister. Her stuff is everywhere. I'm proud of you.
Okay, you are the first one, I'm telling you, that made me think, wow. Because I for a while, I was at Bank of America miserable, trying to figure out what I could do.
Yeah.
And when I saw you, I was like, we were in 500 talking, and this girl was done.
Yeah.
And now look at her.
Yeah.
That's like my first influence of entrepreneurship.
Nice.
Really, and it was you. And I was like, she was done like I was done.
Yeah.
And when she left, I was like, I got to figure out something. This girl is gone. She done started a whole life over here.
Yeah.
I can do this.
You can, and you did.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, the first one.
And not only did you do it, you built on what you started. You didn't just stop with Kitty's custom cleaning. You got a whole line of services that you offer. And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
I
That's
am.
the same way I feel about her.
I'm so proud of you, because it's scary. It's scary to start something new, especially you're so used to that every 2 weeks.
Yes, that was the scariest part, actually. It's not having it every 2 weeks.
But you were touching on some of the three pillars of wealth, and real estate being one of them. A lot of times people think that it takes so much to own real estate, and the one thing I tell my clients is, don't think of it as you purchasing your forever home. Think of it as an investment.
Okay.
Because if you can purchase real estate with the mindset that you're purchasing it for an investment opportunity, that's when you'll start gaining wealth. You'll start looking at it in a totally different with a totally different set of eyes. And that is one of the things, because we've been taught as a people, if I might say that,
You're right.
to get in the house, don't ever move, buy that one house. I had that mindset. Don't ever move and live out the rest of your life. When our counterparts have been taught, buy your house, stay in it for 2 to 3 years, sell it, get the equity, get another one, rent it out. Just utilize it as a tool, and it's brick and mortar. You can replace it.
Yeah.
It's just a house. You can get another one, but use it as an asset and a stepping stone to get wealth.
You're right, because like our parents, like my mom is in the same house that her and my dad bought in '73. And not nothing against them, but I'm just saying, a lot of times since they got it, they just want to hold on to it, never thinking that they could acquire wealth starting with that house and building. You know what I mean?
It is a building block. It is. And when you think of it as not, when you think of it in the whole scheme of things, you think of it as an investment, even the type of house that you buy and where you buy it just totally shifts. It changes your mindset.
I'm going to tell you about her with my daughter. My oldest daughter, works out of town with her job. And my youngest daughter purchased the house, so I have been telling my oldest daughter that she may need to look into purchasing a house. And she got hemming and hawing. Then finally one day we saw that little condo on the west side. And she still hemming and hawing. But the day when she walked in there and she saw it, and it shifted her mindset to her thinking, wow, I can get this house. You know, this is nice. What if I had my own place? Yep. So then when we pulled her credit, she had some hiccups on her credit. Well, I had been telling her to make sure her stuff was good. She got all excited about that particular condo. And then when she couldn't get it, she was disappointed. But that stemmed her to say, I need to get my credit right and fix it and all of this. So about 2 months ago, my daughter's credit is much better now. She told me, would you call the realtor and just let her know that I'm working on my credit and her score is higher, and back when I think it's October or November, she can actually get something. To let her know that I'm going to be calling her. I was like, Dominique, seriously? She's like, yes, please call her, text her, and just let her know I'm working on it. And you know what I mean? And that you taking her in there sparked her mind, which I had been trying to tell her, but it's like she just wouldn't get it from me.
Well, if we can see, a lot of times, if we can see the destination, we'll know how to get there. If we've never seen it before, if we don't think it's within our grasp, it's hard to envision ourselves doing it. But when she saw it and she was able to apply it to herself, I saw that light bulb click on you and like.
So I've been telling you.
That's all it takes. A lot of times is for people. I know it took me 4 years. I'm my worst client. Look, it took me 4 years to purchase my house, my first house. I bought my first house at 23, and it took me 4 years. I'm my worst client. And it was because education wasn't readily available. Back then, they looked at me. I first started at 19. I got married to my first husband at 19. So this 19-year-old coming in, working at the pawn shop, going to school full-time at FSCJ, I want to buy a house. They didn't take me seriously. And then it took another year. I told somebody the same thing. I had a better job, but I was still young, 20 years old. I want to buy a house. I didn't have the credit. When I got my credit right, I didn't have the down payment. I got my credit and my down payment right. I didn't have the income. So all of those components, if somebody would just sit me down and say, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, I would have known. So it took me 4 years. And it was because the education wasn't readily available.
And that's something that I'm glad. Like I purchased my first house when we were working at Homeside.
I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't know before then, but going through that processing class, I was like, I can buy me a house, but I didn't know it at the time. But a lot of it is just the education of not knowing. And now that we know, we can make sure our kids know. They don't have to go through those hiccups and bumps that we went through.
That's right.
Which is good. And they don't have to go through on trying to figure out if you want to be an entrepreneur. How to literally be an entrepreneur is the hardest part for most people.
It is. It is. And it's because it's so many, you wear so many hats as an entrepreneur. And not only do you have to be an entrepreneur, you got to be a good leader. If you're going to have people under you, you got to know, you got to have those skills. And it takes a certain mindset and it takes a certain skill set to be successful.
It does. And a lot of people, I think, don't think that they have it. I didn't know that I could be an entrepreneur. I never held management jobs or anything. I didn't want to be responsible for nobody and all of this here. Not realizing my whole life, I was being a manager. You managing the kids, the husband, the house, the job, who picking up what, how long you gonna work, doing all this stuff. That's management right there. So you really were doing a leadership. You just didn't know it. So I find that a lot of people I know think that they just can't handle it, and not realizing once you show them each aspect of their life how they're already managing and leading. You know, a lot of times you don't even think about positions in church. That's management. That's leading people. You like, I'm over the usher board. I'm over the finance. You know, just different things.
Let me tell you something. When you're paying somebody to do something for you, it's easy to be a leader because you're paying them. But when you're in a church setting, a volunteer setting, if you're a leader in a setting where nobody has to follow you, 9 times out of 10, you'll make a good entrepreneur.
Exactly. They don't have to.
They don't have to.
You're not getting paid for it, and you're doing it. You can make an awesome one.
That's true.
And you know, sometimes I just tell you, I'm like, you sitting in church, you being a leader, but are you stepping out on that faith that you're sitting up there all day reading and walking around and clapping. I don't really know if you have faith if you're not stepping out on it. Because I can always say I can run really, really fast until you get me on the track and I'll run like a turtle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yep.
So that's I thought about that with a lot of people.
You gotta get the faith. They might have the faith, but they may not have the works.
Yeah.
You gotta have both of them. And that's another thing about being an entrepreneur. Oh Lord, you gotta have faith and works.
You got it.
Because they eventually collide.
Yeah.
They do, and it equates to results.
Yes.
But you can't have faith and say, well, I'm gonna get some clients in and not do anything to bring them in. And you can't go and fish for clients and not have the faith that God is going to supply the need. And it's so many people in Jacksonville and the surrounding counties. You also have to have the faith that God has enough. He has enough in the pot for everybody.
Yes.
It's a lack of faith if we think it's too many people in my industry. Nobody's going to use me because I'm a small business. God has enough provision for everybody. You have to have faith that He has enough for you. Mm-hmm. And not just enough, but overflow.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to, I tell people, get used to walking in fear. Like, people think that I don't get scared or I feel nervous. I'm just so used to being nervous.
You can't tell it, can you?
Exactly, but you just get used to being nervous and just doing it. That's just because it makes me scared doesn't mean I'm not gonna do it. It just I feel a little rumble and I'm used to working through it. Versus sometimes back in the day I would feel a rumble and I would back out instead of me saying, now I'm like bumping. I'm gonna talk to this person because now I need to talk to people because that's how my money flows. Mm-hmm. But before I just like. Then I back out. Yeah. And then I started looking at it as a perspective with my daughters. I didn't really want to teach them bad habits. Mm-hmm. So if they see me never stepping out and never, I'm going to teach that to them. And I don't want them to be stuck in a little box or something. Because you know what I mean? Because that's what they watch me do.
Yeah.
And I can't tell them to do something I ain't doing.
So what I just heard you say is you gave your daughters permission to be great. Because if they saw you do it, they now have a roadmap and a blueprint to do just what you did.
What?
So you gave them permission to go out and do just like you did. Who said that class?
Okay.
My bad.
No, you're right. That's true.
Do what your mama did.
Yeah, and a lot of do what your mama did. And a lot of times that's a good thing. That's awesome.
You gave them permission to go be great. Because if you never did it, then they can say, oh, my mentor, oh, my this, or oh, my that, my teacher, or my pastor. But it's nothing like saying my mama, because they're part of you.
Mm-hmm. They are.
They're part of you, and your mentor can tell you anything. Your pastor, not discounting any of these people, they're all they got them all. But it's something about when your mother or your father or somebody that's connected to you says, I did this, you're a part of me, you can do it too, and you can do it better than me. Because that's what God tells us to do.
Yeah.
I did it. God tells us that. Jesus told us that. Or whatever you want to believe, I believe in God. Mm-hmm. He said, I did these things, but greater works will you do. And that's what we do when we give our children permission to be greater than us when we step out on faith. And we keep pressing.
That is so true. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah.
Because if they watch you do it, they're like, oh, she did it. I can do it. I'm part of her. Mm-hmm. And they get to see you in another light than everybody else. They see you in your night clothes and hair rollers and hair sticking up. And they like
up at night praying.
Yeah.
They see the ugly.
Yeah, they can see
the
ugly doing it. Of course, they're like, oh,
yeah,
she real people. I know that she's real people. Mm-hmm. She's not like made up. Like they don't know if Beyonce real or fake or whatever. Yeah. But they get to see you at the nitty gritty. And they're like, oh.
And they see what it takes.
Yeah.
So that's a major benefit with being an entrepreneur. And it's so many different benefits to being that way. You benefit because your community benefits. Mm-hmm. You give back. And then you give other girls and boys that look like you the opportunity to say, I can do that.
Yeah.
There's somebody that actually looks like me that's doing this. Mm-hmm. You give not just your children permission, but somebody else's children permission that looks like you. And that's so important because we already know it's not very many positive reflections in media about, they don't broadcast this.
No.
They don't. And the people that they broadcast, it's your mainstream people, but they don't broadcast to everyday people in the community that's making a difference.
That's true.
And that's setting a different tone. So
let me ask you this: what do you have to people? What are your? I have people come to me and they say, "Well, everybody's not an entrepreneur. Everybody's not meant to work for themselves." You know,
that's true.
What? And my thing is, I tell people, everybody isn't. But you can always invest in someone who is. And I think that's one of our major things with the black community is we don't have anyone investing in us. So because you don't have any investing in us, then no wonder your business can't grow to where another business is, because we either want to do it or we just don't. We don't even help nobody else. You know what I mean? Say, hey, you know, I can help you advertise, or I can give you a couple of dollars to help with this. So you have to.
So I think it starts with us first, because we get it. We're in business. I think that once we realize that business to business, if we can do business with each other, B2B, business to business, then it's going to trickle down. Because once I invest in you, and Kitty has done several of our properties too.
Yes!
I don't call another company. If somebody says, I need cleaning service, I give them her phone number. And once you start investing in yourself and your community, then your community starts responding to you. I just believe that. So to answer your question, what I would say to the black community, the African American community, is that let's learn some history. If you know your history, and if history repeats itself, we were self-sustaining for years. I frequent American Beach, Fernandina Beach, and there's a huge plaque that says that A.L. Lewis bought 200 acres of land so that African Americans can go to the beach and afford the opportunity to do all the things that our counterparts did. That was in 1901. Where did he get? He was the first African American millionaire in Florida. Know your history. If he did that back in 1901, why do you think we can't do it now? The reason why he was able to do it was because they were united.
Yes.
We were united as a people. Our dollar, and I know everybody's heard this before, but I don't know if everybody understands the magnitude of how strong our dollar is. If we didn't frequent any one business that did not look like a black business, for one day we would shut down the economy. We would shut it down if every black person in the United States for one day refused to spend money for one day and put it back into the black businesses just for one day, we would shut it down.
Exactly.
And that's how strong our dollar is. So my answer to that is, as business owners, we know the importance of working together, business to business, and uniting as business owners. Let's unite as business owners. And as we unite as business owners, we get stronger. Let's invest in each other, because my dollar is going to increase your business. Your dollar is going to increase my business. I might not need to go and ask anybody for any money, because I can fund my own dreams.
Yes.
We can fund each other. And if we do business amongst each other, we get stronger, we get better, we offer better services, we get more of our people coming in. And I hear people all the time say, I don't want to do business with different ethnicities because they don't work in the spirit of excellence. I've been doing business with a lot of different ethnicities, and I've seen some really poor customer service. I've seen some poor service. I've had people not return my phone calls. I've seen it all. And it doesn't just happen with one ethnicity. It's not a race problem, it's a character problem.
Yes. Okay.
So once we realize that it's not a race problem, it's a character problem, we find the people who look like us that has the best character to put into their business so that we can all flourish.
That's true.
And that's in a nutshell. We get better. We'll just get better.
That summed it up.
Yeah.
Cause I mean that's true. I tried. Like, I mean, you can't always shop black, but I tried before I go out and do something. I'm like, let me see if I can first consciously do it. And if more people, we start saying, okay, consciously, let me just try first. If I can't, then I go outside. But also people can realize if you can't find it, it might be something that you can do.
Thank you.
If you can't find it and you need it, that might be
That's
your
a need.
chance to say, you know what, I can provide this and I can give it to everybody in my community.
There's a need.
Yeah.
Because our gifts make room for us. Yep.
Okay? They do. They
They
really do. Our gifts make room for us.
Yep.
You know? Oh, that. Look, I'm not, y'all. I want to people. I can talk all day, and I'm just gonna shut up.
Let's see what time it is.
Because it's true.
Oh, it's 2:47. We went over.
No, you only go for like, I go for an hour long. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's like, this is, first of all, it's free.
Okay.
I'm not paying CBS and ABC, so we can talk as long as you want to talk. You can say what you want to say. It's uncensored. You can just do what you want to do. Oh, you know what? Back up. Let's go back to Homeside Lending.
Oh, okay.
When you told me that you were a mortgage broker,
Yes.
that part I had no idea. Tell me about when we were processing at Homeside. What happened after that?
So we used to process together at Homeside Lending, and one of the tasks we had was to look at the settlement statement, which is an itemized list of closing costs. And I always saw that they paid their processors $350 per file. And I'm like, if I'm closing 30 files per month, I want my $350 per file. I did the math, and it wasn't adding up. So that's what made me say, I'm sick of this. Homeside Lending was a really good company to work for.
Y'all, that was one of the best companies I've ever worked for in my life.
It was fun. The atmosphere was awesome. But then another competitor bought us, and oh gosh, everything changed.
Keep talking.
And I decided that was no longer in my path. I asked God for guidance. I'd already had my mortgage broker license, so.
Now that I didn't know.
I got it while I was working at Homeside Lending. Didn't do anything with it. So I stopped working there, and I started processing for a mortgage broker. And he asked me how much I was going to charge, and I said $350 a file.
Saw it on the settlement statement.
so I charged $350 a file, and he was closing like 10 files a month. I was making like $3,500 a month back then was way more than I was making at Homeside Lending, even with the bonus. So I saw my $350 per file, and I saw his $3,500 per file.
Okay. And he was $10.99 to you?
Yes. So I was making a fraction of what he was making, and I said, wait a minute, I have my license, I'm gonna do that. So I started doing that. And then I saw how much my broker was making, my mortgage broker company, because you had to work for a mortgage broker, you had to work for a broker shop in order for you to function as a mortgage broker.
Okay.
I saw how much they were making off of my commission, and I was like, I can open my own mortgage broker company and keep all of my money.
Yeah. See, that's one thing too you didn't know back then, but that was your entrepreneurship step all the way down to the beginning at the settlement statement. You reading it and you seeing how much they make. Bing.
Yeah, like you guys are charging $350 for a job that I'm doing, and you're not paying me anywhere near this.
Bing,
yeah.
bing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it all connected.
Yeah.
So I did that. I became a mortgage broker. I opened my own mortgage broker shop, and I was referring all of my business out to a realtor, and her customers were asking me questions, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not getting any of her commission. I want to get my real estate license. So I did it all. I processed, I brokered deals, and I was a realtor.
Go ahead on. But that's your hand in all the pot. Getting paid. You know what I mean?
And I did that, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I did it scared, but I did it.
But say it again.
I did it scared, but I did it.
I did it scared, but I did it. Like, you know, I'm finding the hardest part, even with people, let's just say you're on a job and you want a promotion. You say, you know, I can be a manager. The hardest part I'm getting with people is fear. They let fear hold them back on so much. You know, you're comfortable, so you're okay, but your fear is holding you back. And I try to tell people, sometimes if it makes you scared, that's exactly what you need to do. If it don't make you scared, it ain't what you're supposed to do. But if you scared, that's God trying to tell you, you should go ahead on and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he giving you the sign, but he going to let the devil step in. He can't just, put it all in there. So the devil give you fear to keep you from being as great as you really want to.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to think about that.
And a lot of times our experiences, especially at this age, I'm 42. So well into our 40s, we've pretty much had so many different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, the world is your oyster. You do whatever you want to do. You have less fear when you're young because you haven't had so many setbacks and failures. But when you get to this age, you've experienced the wrong people, the wrong opportunities. You've just had misfortunes. You've had some things. You've had some life experiences to occur, and you're just trying to find your peaceful, happy place, and you're just trying to make sure that you maintain that because we appreciate life.
Yeah.
And peace. And we understand we're getting a little older. We're not supposed to be doing this at 60. So we start going towards the things that bring us peace. And sometimes those things that scare us appear to be those things that aren't going to bring us peace because we know what hard work looks like. Mm-hmm. We know what dedication and commitment looks like. Mm-hmm. It takes us out of our comfort zone. It stretches us. And it causes us sometimes to be tired.
Yeah.
And that's everything. All of those things are a little scary. But what's on the opposite side of that is success.
Yes.
And that's what brings you peace and wealth and freedom of movement and your time.
Yes. Because, look at us. It's 2 o'clock. We're sitting here talking. 10 years ago, we was pushing papers and all that at the bank. They told us what we can do, when we can do it, how we can do it, how long it take to do it, when you're going to leave, you're going to work overtime because it's mandatory.
Yeah.
And now...
Or you can't take off with your sick kid because you just took off last week and the kid is not sick like that all the time. So you can either get someone to watch them or come to work or get written up.
Exactly. So you get written up, you're not going to get your raise, but your raise is going to be few and far between anyway. And you only can live off of what they give you. So if they say, hey, I'm paying you 50 grand, you better make 50 grand work for you. If they, you know what I mean? Now you taking the caps off. So you can either go to the zero or push 100, 200, whatever you do. You're taking the limits off of God by doing it on your own. Or you can be safe at the safe 50. It's safe, but it ain't comfortable. It's just safe.
And there's nothing wrong with having a job. There's nothing wrong with working in corporate America if that's what you're graced to do. But this is geared towards entrepreneurship. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit and something is pressing in you and you know that, okay, I need to do something because I just can't even function. If it's always on your mind, go for it.
I didn't know. When I was at the bank, I was being miserable. But I didn't want to leave and go somewhere else because of the same thing. And Bank of America at the end of the day had the best benefits. So if I'm going to be there, at least I know I got a good dental and medical plan. You know what I mean? But it was like I was going through a life change. My kids were now adults, and I was divorced, and living back at my mom's house, and my spirit just kept being torn. Something kept saying, it's time, it's change time. And I didn't know what change time was, what it was. Come to find out it was this cleaning thing. Somebody go on me and tell me. So, you gonna leave the bank to clean toilets?
Oh.
So y'all don't think you're not gonna have naysayers, because you are.
Wow.
You're gonna have people. Somebody said that.
That's me.
You're gonna leave the bank to clean toilets?
It's me.
Okay. Now they.
But you got a fleet now, don't you?
Yes, exactly.
Vehicles. Yeah. And contract.
You know what I mean? I'm getting out of here.
Listen,
call it what you want.
She couldn't even get us online because she on live today because she kept answering the phone, responding to text messages. I was like, she is busy. I love that.
Aww.
I love it. I do.
I think it's the stuff that people don't see it. You know what I mean?
I love it, and it does. It makes you sharp.
Very.
It does, and it keeps you young and it keeps you vibrant, especially when it's something that is bringing you success and wealth.
Yeah. It does keep you young and vibrant, where you feel like you just feel I think it's too because you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
Even you have the kinks and ups and downs, but you're doing what you love, and that affects your spirit the inside.
It does.
It really does.
It does. It grows you, and you keep looking for ways to be better.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the money. The money is a byproduct. Kitty, what y'all gonna do with Kitty?
And the money is a byproduct, because once you're doing what you love and you're into it, it'll just start coming. Yeah. It'll be the product of what is going on. Like right now, my brother is going through the rift of he's growing, and so since he's growing, like he's at that point of, okay, I figure this out and do this, and who I'm gonna get to help with me, and this and this. And I told Dietrich, I said, you got good business problems. You know what I mean? You could be sitting home wishing the phone rang and calling everybody you know.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So he's at that change in his business of growing, and I'm happy to see that with him, because he was just tired of working where he was working, and he decided to be an entrepreneur, and so it was just him, and he trying to find work.
So let me ask you this: did he decide to be an entrepreneur before or after you became one?
After, yeah. After, yeah.
You give people permission.
And I didn't think about that. Like my employees are 1099, which is my sister. My sister, you just saw Dion. She works for me, and she's 1099. So when you're 1099, you're technically self-employed.
That's right.
So me, my brother, my sister Dion, and then my sister Tracy, she does writes up all our contract, does our logo, and just all that back end stuff. Where I'm like, write this up for me, because I can't figure this out. She's really good at that.
I met your sister one time, and I had no idea that was your sister.
Yeah, Tracy?
No. I saw her post something about a book club on there, and I saw Watley, but I didn't connect the two.
Oh.
And she had, and I followed the book club link, and then I went and I saw that she was selling some clothes. And I reached out to her. I was like, I want this.
Yeah, because Tracy.
And then we said, I still got all those clothes. And we went to talking, and I realized that's Kitty's sister.
Yep.
Awesome, fabulous person. Your brother is awesome. Your other sister Dion is awesome. So it's a family thing.
Yeah, and.
So you were able to increase wealth within your spirit influence, your family, and then it just migrates out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's another answer to the how do we expand our network within the Black community. You start with your family, and then it begins to expand.
Yeah, because one thing I saw Rick Ross on an interview, because Wing Stops or something he owns a lot of, and he was saying that he would buy them, and his mom and his sisters and all them run them. And one thing he was saying that, if everybody is working and eating, nobody is begging and pulling.
That's right.
Because if you're making money, of course people going to pull and drain.
Yeah.
But if you use what you're doing to help them, now they're self-sufficient.
That's right.
And everybody can grow,
And then that's when the community changes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times what happens with Black people is we think we're going to do it all on our own, and I want to be the one driving the BMW, I ain't going to help you, and we just kind of be not tight with it, but don't help each other. Like with Oriental people, how they get here and some of them they all live in the same house helping each other, and then next thing you know they branching off, getting a new house, different, getting a new business, but they help each other get there versus just trying to do it.
But that's their culture. They didn't get taken away from their original culture, because that's how we are. That was our background when we were in our native land. But when we've been programmed to do a certain thing and think a certain way, we're now. That's what I'm saying. If we get back to our history and get back to our roots, and we research who we are, once we realize who we are as an individual and then as a people, that's when we can start adopting or reacclimating ourselves to what God would have us to be. Because nothing that is false and fake is gonna stand.
That's true.
It all breaks down, and we already know by now that we are definitely the foundation. We are. And no matter what we're taught, all those false things that we were taught, it can't stand. And the good thing that I can say is, the positive thing I can say is, I'm beginning to see a lot of people realize who they are. And not only are they realizing it, they're beginning to share it. They're beginning to share the knowledge, and they're beginning to be more affirmative on what they believe and their beliefs. And in my 42 years of living, I've never seen that type of response from my generation.
You're right.
I saw it in the older generations, but not my generation. And I'm beginning to see in our generation we're getting back to what the older generations already knew, that we're the foundation.
Yes, I am. So one thing, like she said, as an entrepreneur, one thing you must do, and I tell people, is continue education.
Yes.
I did not say college. I said continue your education.
Yes.
It's like once you start, I'm not a big reader, because by the time at the end of the day, if I go home and I read, I'm going to fall asleep because I'm busy all day. But I listen to books constantly, and they might be books that have to do with leadership, business.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now I'm listening to one called The New Jim Crow. And it's just teaching, showing, taking everything all the way back to slavery to now on
Mm-hmm.
all the changes that's been going on with,
Mm-hmm.
black people.
Yeah.
So you just constantly, like, you start wanting to learn
Yeah.
more and engulf yourself in the knowledge, because in the end it makes you greater,
That's right.
which helps your team be greater, which helps your community be greater,
That's right.
and your culture greater.
That's right.
So if one thing I noticed, it's the beat coming back.
Okay.
That might be. Hey, Miss Sandra. You can come across the front, y'all. Miss Sandra, people around the back.
I don't want to
Miss
see me
Sandra
like
said
that. Catch me when I go to the bathroom. I got a pee bag.
Y'all, that's Miss Sandra. They coming in. Oh, let me shut this door. It's hot. Oh, no. It's the top. Right. Oh, there you go.
So that was a good point you made, and all our getting, whatever we get, we do need to get an understanding. And once you understand who you are, and who God is, and who God says that you are, you can't be stopped.
It's so true.
Nothing and no one can
It's
stop.
like, I'm a queen.
That's
If
right.
I'm a queen, being a queen is hard. It's easy to just not be a queen. But once you deem yourself that person, you start wanting to live up to it. You start pushing yourself. Like right now, a lot of my friends know, and I put it on Facebook so I can be accountable. I'm on no alcohol for a while. And I set it out for 30 days. Just because I've been vacationing and just, So I said, you know what? I'm on this no alcohol, eat right, exercise,
Nice.
take care of me type deal going
Nice.
on. So right now I'm on day 17 of 30. Like every day if you look,
You're more than halfway there.
yeah. And I'm actually thinking about pushing it to 45.
Nice.
Maybe even more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just put myself on there just because I started seeing. I'm like, you know what? You need to get a sense of clarity. Just something in my spirit said, once you come back from Cancun, do this. And I said, Lord, why should I do this? And he just said, do it. So I said, you know what? Bump it. I'm just going to
That's
do
how I
it.
met my husband.
For real? Wow.
Yeah. I went on a search to find out who I was and who I was in God's eyes. I already knew who I was to everybody else, but I didn't know who I was to God. I thought I did. So I stripped myself. I did. And I began to peel back layers, and I began to ask God to take me to the root cause of certain mindsets and certain actions and certain cycles, because I noticed certain cycles kept recurring in my life. And I started asking God to show me the root cause of these cycles and why do I keep repeating them. And it was a mindset, and I had to ask God to clean my slate, and I had to learn how to deal with me. I had to, and you hear the term love yourself. That's so cliche, but I really had to learn how to love myself and not hear the external things that people were thinking or saying. I had to learn those things, and once I did, I positioned myself in order to be blessed so that I can receive His blessing.
Yeah. Oh, it's Toy gonna take y'all home?
Yeah, I'm on my way.
Oh, she is. Okay. Let me show y'all right quick.
Wait, I gotta get myself
Miss
together.
Sandra, come back here.
She's fixing her hair.
You down with the big hat.
I left the hat on food with the
Y'all,
hat
this is
out.
Kiara. Lean in. That's Kiara.
Hey,
I
Kiara.
ain't gonna
Miss
lean
Sandra
like
fixing
that.
her hair.
Miss Sandra, don't act like that.
Yeah.
She's
You
fixing
there on
her
the
hair.
big hat.
My head and my bowl. I had the baby this morning, his birthday, man. Homeboy was tripping.
Oh, well, shut that door there right quick. It get hot in here quick. Come on, Miss Sandra. Y'all see Miss Sandra?
All the way live.
Oh, you gotta get in the
You
middle.
gotta get right there so that they can see.
Y'all, this Miss Sandra.
The oldest one on the job.
Now, let me guess. She's bad at
Yes.
The bad employee.
I love Miss
You bad
Sandra.
one, aren't you? Out of the group, you just.
I'm ex-military. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Miss Sandra, you was in the Army, wasn't
Yeah.
Nice.
you? And this is Kiara. She's the
Carry
baby.
it safely to church and
19.
all.
Okay. You can always be safe around her.
I got weapons.
Yep.
And then y'all, that's Latoya. She pulling
What's
up.
your name?
I'm Dana. Dana Johnson.
And she's a realtor.
Yep.
Well, she owns a realtor. That's my daughter that just
It's all behind you. It's in my shirt.
Okay. Well, y'all, we're going to end this live broadcast. I tell Dana O. Johnson, because I like to say her whole name. It's just nice to me. Thank you very, very much. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You
I
are
don't
very
count
welcome.
it lightly. Nice
Nice
to meet you, Miss Sandra, Miss Bad Sandra.
Okay.
Take it to the house.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you
I
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
I've been out recruiting.
That's right.
Okay, y'all, we end it with a bang.
Hello.
Toya, that's,
Say hey.
come by and say hey, Toya.
Oh, Lord, I'm swell.
Hi. Everybody say hello.
Bye, y'all.